How to prepare for the Great Depression of 2023. You may be very scared of the dire situation of the global recession, which will impact your finances like never before. But now is the time to be alert, not to panic. Below are the things that you need to be very careful right now. Hello, welcome to our channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then subscribe to the channel without delay. Let's get started. Number 7. The sink of the swim model. The world is symbolized by this bigger circle. You are a part of this smaller circle. There will be a lot of pressure from the outside world on you during a recession or depression. Be it your family, your place of education, the news, the state of the economy, or even a developing sense of terror. You may either resist this external force and swim to the top, or you can choose to give up under this pressure and allow it to draw you down along with your goals and dreams. This is what I mean by the sink or swim model. The main lesson to be learned from this is that even in a depression like the one that most recently occurred between 1929 and 1939, there are always people who ascend to the top, acquire power, and amass wealth. The primary distinction between a recession and a depression is that the former refers to a brief period of economic downturn. The latter, though, is a prolonged drop in economic activity. Basically, a recession on steroids. Yes, it may be more difficult to succeed. However, as more people succumb to the external pressure imposed on them by the world, your actual competition declines actually. This is due to the fact that many people only want to survive. Their potential is so limited. It erects a barrier to their accomplishment, causing them to always feel constrained by outside factors despite their best efforts. Just keep in mind that the currency is still legal tender. Just figure out a way to make it go into your pocket. Number 6. Low-risk, high-yield investments. What if I told you that you could virtually invest risk-free and with a guaranteed return? I'm becoming crazy with age, you're probably thinking, but look at this. Bonds issued by the government. With a 4% yield on the 10-year Treasury, they are paying the highest rate in 15 years. That means you'll receive $4 back annually for every $100 invested, for free. The interesting thing about this is that it usually returns more in proportion to how long you agree to hold on. But the exact reverse is taking place. Treasury bonds with shorter maturities offer higher returns, providing an intriguing possibility for investors to fight inflation with low risk. I got it. Bonds aren't particularly hip. It's not even close to the Dogecoin rally. To be honest, the appeal of bonds, though, is that they don't lose all of their value in a single year, wiping out your investment. Additionally, it carries a relatively low risk given the remote possibility of a government default. Consider investing unused funds in bonds when inflation and risk levels rise in order to at least partially counteract the extreme global inflation we are currently experiencing. Number 5. Reduce the bloodsuckers. Pay off your debt as soon as you can if you want to prosper during the next Great Depression. Debt, however, is not created equal. If you want to get rich but don't make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, you need to be picky about whose debts you pay off. Chris and Carm were two men at one time. Since getting a credit card and using the entire limit to buy a new TV, Chris has lived in constant fear of dying because he lacks the knowledge necessary to properly manage his finances. He was never the same after this. Carm experienced a comparable event, but after he made that initial error, he began to educate himself on the distinctions between good and bad debt. After pulling himself out of the pit, he bought his first home, went on to own other rental homes, and eventually became a multimillionaire. If you didn't already guess, Carm is me. You see, these days, practically everything can be financed, whether it be a watch, a new car, or even the newest trip. Credits, which is when people borrow money for anything under the sun and plan to pay it back later, is rife in today's environment. Although I hate to admit it, the majority of these people definitely have debt. Because credit is so accessible, we must always remember to treat it with care. Before taking out any form of loan, you should ask yourself one straightforward question. Will the item I'm buying cost me money each month? Or will it cost me money each month? A consolidation loan is another excellent option that is worth thinking about because it enables you to take out a loan and use the money to pay off all of your debt simplifying your monthly payments to just one. To ensure you're not getting a bad bargain, just be sure to keep an eye on the interest rate of this loan. But please be careful not to use the full amount on your recently cleared credit cards. Your debt load will increase as a result of sure, high-interest debt can make you miserable, but so can some of your pals. Number 4. Replace friends. 70% of jobs aren't even posted on the open market. Did you know that? This only serves to highlight how accurate the statement is. Who you know is more important than what you know. And if you ask me, I'd say networking and communication skills are among the most crucial abilities when it comes to accumulating riches. I won't sugarcoat this now. The beginning of 2023 is going to be difficult. Therefore, it's more crucial than ever to surround yourself with successful business people and dependable friends. Even if a friend is trustworthy occasionally, the friendship may no longer be beneficial to you, in which case you may need to make some difficult choices. I took a big risk in my early days of business and traveled to China to speak with factory owners in person. One of the first individuals I met was a man by the name of Edward, who after many years of business cooperation, became a trustworthy friend and ally. One day, Edward was presented with an incredible offer to sell this company, and it would have been foolish of him to turn it down. I couldn't be happier for Edward. He earned the departure because he's such a good guy. It meant he could retire and enjoy the results of his labor. My agenda was crammed full of meetings with numerous business owners on my subsequent trips to China. Every evening, Edward would reach out to me and respectfully ask me to do something with him because I could tell he had a lot of free time. Due to the fact that our priorities had changed, the partnership was no longer mutually beneficial. And because spending time overseas is expensive, I have to consider how much time I spend hanging out when traveling. Some could argue that this makes me a horrible friend, but if I had spent every evening with him, I wouldn't have been my typically upbeat self, since I would have been anxious about everything I needed to get done the following day. It's preferable that I leave a spot open in his network of friends for someone who can support his passions and a new way of life. I need that saying this is great, but how do I go about finding the appropriate individuals to surround myself with? As a result, my COO, Kai, found his community online by watching YouTube videos and TV shows because he had no opportunity to interact with high net worth people prior to working with me. The people he viewed on his computer screen became his role models. Over 12,000 like-minded individuals are currently talking about how to succeed financially and gain power on my free Strike It Big Discord community. I rarely discuss this. For those who are interested, I only insert a link in the description. Consider attending gatherings if you want to press the flesh and take things to the next level. I just went to FinCon and met hundreds of business people, YouTubers, and well-known businesses. You only need to go look for it. There will be an event somewhere that is ideal for you. Number 3. Start a monthly budget. The volume of money printed has broken records during the last few years. Our economy has been saturated with trillions of dollars, and many of you have legitimately inherited money that you didn't work for. This makes it obvious because everyone needs money. Therefore, it was only fitting that the government provided it. Unseen consequences of this include extremely high corporation earnings and excessive consumer spending worldwide. People spend money carelessly when the economy is doing well, whether it be by overpaying for groceries or the newest technology. However, as this funding runs out, the company's profits will fall, driving the impending recession and likely job losses. It's crucial to establish and modify your monthly budget in order to best position yourself for the challenging times to come. If you don't currently have a budget, I can almost assure you that you will be amazed at how much money is lost each month. You'll be ahead of the 65% of Americans who have no idea where their money goes each month if you use an app to track spending or just write down your weekly expenses on some paper and follow a budget. In the end, every dollar you save goes toward an investment that will provide passive income for you. By the way, I'll provide a link to public.com below, so you may access it if you want to start investing and receive a free stock valued up to $1,000. Number 2. High-income skills. The weak and unskilled are the first to struggle during recessions and the more severe depression that may be approaching. No matter the state of the economy, if you have a skill that is in high demand, you will make much more than the average. I own and operate a number of companies in various markets. One is a distributor that offers products to other companies. Retail establishments that cater to regular consumers are another, and a production firm that creates a variety of shows is the last. Even if these companies couldn't be more dissimilar from one another, the kind of individual I'm looking for is actually extremely similar. That regardless of the state of the economy, a small number of high-paying skills are always in demand. Finding high-income skills by working backward from your personality type is a wonderful strategy. Let's use my own squad as an illustration. Kai enjoys finishing agreements and has a natural affinity for interpersonal communication. Sam excels at picking up technical knowledge, which makes him an expert in graphic design and editing. Curtis, on the other hand, is an expert storyteller who is incredibly important in the field of content marketing. Now more than ever, content is vital as it's the key to unlocking people's attention. And once you have that, not only will the social media platforms pay you a share of the profits, but you will also have a following of devoted customers. If a depression strikes, I could put employees with these skills into any of my firms, where they would succeed and eventually become the last ones I would fire. These are obviously special examples. Just consider your natural talents and consider how you might be able to use them to outperform the market in problem solving. Just keep in mind that it helps if the talent you are learning is in a field that is expanding and has a high earning potential, like commission-based selling. Number 1. Steal like an artist. If you merely copy what others have done before you, you will never become extremely wealthy. Most of the prizes from that race have already been claimed. However, you can be if you steal artistically. This is when you combine the greatest elements from a variety of inspirations in your own unique approach. You can even modify the social media algorithms to just display stuff that inspires you. You could spend your time learning about what other people are doing instead of spending it on TikTok. In light of this, I'm going to share my investment strategy for the foreseeable future. So if you like, you can draw inspiration from it. I want to allocate 5% of my portfolio to high-risk investments like cryptocurrency, 25% to medium-risk investments like individual stocks and timepieces, and 70% to lower-risk investments like index funds, bonds, and real estate. Since I'm aiming to create generational wealth, I used to allocate more of my portfolio to higher-risk assets. But given the status of the markets and the economy as a whole, I've opted to move more of my attention to low-risk, long-term investments. Based on your age and aspirations, your spread will now look significantly different from this. This is because you can take on greater danger while you're younger. You may have noticed that I left off one extremely important aspect, namely my enterprises. The reason for this is that I don't consider them a part of my personal portfolio. In these times, I think it's more crucial than ever to invest in my businesses and develop new abilities.